Kwame the Preferred Vinter. In the emerald hills of Aburi, Ghana, the mist kisses the ridges and the mornings wake to the rhythm of birds. Kwame, a young man of steady hands and a restless spirit, rose from his raffia mat each dawn. He whispered a sleepy, "Make, Nyame," "Good morning, God." While the world was still quiet, he moved through the groves, known by all as the tapper's son. He had a knack for drawing the purest palm wine from felled trunks, seeking the sweet, milky sap that flowed like lifeblood from the heart of the trees. Kwame's father, Kojo, together they walked the narrow paths between thick ferns, tools slung across their shoulders. Kojo taught Kwame the silent pulse of the land, patience, humility, and rhythm. As they poured the fresh sap into large barrels, the air filled with a scent that was sharp and sweet. "A man who knows how to climb and cut will never go hungry," Kojo would say. Kwame admired his father's precision, but deep inside, he felt caged by the repetition of the same trees and the same slopes. One evening, as the crickets sang and the moonlight painted the trees silver, Kwame sat alone on a wooden stool. He swirled a half-full calabash of palm wine, watching it move like a restless spirit. He didn't drink, he just wondered if life held another purpose. He looked up at the stars and prayed, "Dear God, I only know how to make this drink, but something inside me says it's not enough. If there's another path, show me, before I turn sour like wine left too long in the sun." The answer arrived when a blue bus hissed to a stop in the village. Out stepped Father Anthony, a man who had served in the Vatican and returned to his home in Aburi. He carried a small wooden case and a Bible worn from use. One afternoon, he found Kwame by a felled palm tree. "You understand patience and taste, Kwame," the priest said, watching the sap drip. "Those are gifts, not accidents. But tell me, have you ever tasted grape wine? It can be made right here, on our own soil." Father Anthony opened his case and revealed a slender bottle of deep red liquid. He poured a small amount for Kwame to taste. It was rich, calm, and deep, the wine of communion. "Not every drink is meant to make men laugh," the priest whispered. "Some are meant to make them think. If you are willing to learn about faith and purpose, I will teach you the art of the vineyard." Kwame felt a stir in his heart. For the first time, the horizon didn't look so far away. Under the priest's guidance, Kwame began to transform a rocky slope behind the church. He traded his bamboo pole for a pruning knife, learning the language of the vine. Father Anthony brought rich soil from the valleys, teaching Kwame that growth happens in listening. "These vines are like children," Kwame noted as the first green sprouts pushed through the earth. "Yes," the priest replied. "And you must raise them with care, patience, and sometimes with sacrifice." But the journey was not easy. The bitter harvest came with heavy, unkind rains that flooded the rows. Kwame watched in despair as the roots began to rot and the surviving grapes turned sour. "We'll lose them, Father," Kwame said, his heart sinking. But Father Anthony stood steady in the rain. "Faith is starting again when reason says stop," he said. "When you find your peace, Kwame, come back to the soil. It forgives faster than people do." Kwame did not give up. He stayed until dawn, clearing weeds and propping up weak stems. Soon, the gentle bloom returned. A visitor named Madame Beatrice, who had heard of the church wine from Aburi, arrived in a bright blue car. She tasted a bottle from a batch Kwame had nearly abandoned. "It tastes like home," she smiled. She ordered 20 bottles for a wedding in the city. Kwame's heart pounded with a slow, grateful pride. He was no longer just a tapper, he was a maker. Word of the Preferred Vinter spread beyond the hills to Accra and even Kumasi. One evening, Kwame sat with his father, Kojo, by a crackling fire. Kojo, now moving slowly with a palm wood cane, looked at the bottles ready for delivery. "I thought I was raising a palm tapper," Kojo chuckled, his eyes glistening. "Turns out I was raising a vintner. You make a drink that brings people together, and that is good work." Kwame crouched by him, realizing that his father's lessons of the grove had given him the wings to fly. Years later, an invitation arrived from the Vatican, honoring Kwame for his devotion to craft. Though he traveled far, he never forgot the mist of Aburi. He returned to the oldest palm tree where his journey began and poured a little wine onto the soil. "Mita wo as, Papa," he whispered. "Thank you, Father." He had not escaped his beginnings. He had transformed them. In the quiet hum of the vineyard, Kwame lived his higher calling, proving that